The moment you stop contacting her, everything changes. Not just a little, not just for a day, but in her mind, in her emotions, in her ego, something starts to burn. She may not show it. She may act cold, distant, or even pretend she doesn't care. But behind the mask, silence is shaking her world in ways most men never understand. You see, most men believe if they stop reaching out, she'll simply move on, forget, or replace them. But the truth is the exact opposite. Silence doesn't erase you, it magnifies you. It plants questions in her mind that she cannot ignore. Did he lose interest? Did I push him away? Or has he found someone better? And here's the part no one tells you. Those questions don't weaken attraction, they fuel it. Uncertainty is the oxygen of desire, and when you pull away, when you finally stop giving her constant attention, you create a storm in her psychology that can either make her chase you harder than ever or expose the truth that she was never truly invested. This video is not about childish games. It's about understanding the raw reality of female psychology. What actually happens when you go no contact? Why silence stings deeper than words? And how your response in these moments separates the man she respects forever from the man she forgets tomorrow. So stay locked in, because over the next few minutes, I'm going to break down step by step what a woman really does when you stop contacting her and how to hold your frame like a stoic man, no matter what. Let's begin. When you stop contacting a woman, the very first thing she feels is not relief. It's not indifference. It's shock, a disruption in the pattern she had come to rely on, often without even realizing it. Think about it. Human beings are creatures of habit. We get used to rhythms: the morning coffee, the notifications that ping our phone, the goodnight text before bed. And when those rhythms disappear, it feels like something inside of us has been knocked off balance. For a woman, your communication becomes one of those rhythms, whether she admits it or not. She grows accustomed to your presence, your texts, your calls, your attention. At first, she might not have even valued it consciously. Maybe she left you on read sometimes. Maybe she took her time replying. Maybe she even acted like your attention wasn't that important. But the truth is, she leaned on it, like background music in a cafe. She didn't notice it when it was there, but the moment the music stopped, the silence became deafening. That's the shock of silence. It's not about your words. It's about what those words represented. They represented access, security, the quiet reassurance that you were still there, still orbiting around her world. And when that access suddenly disappears, her psychology reacts in powerful ways. At first, she might tell herself, "It's fine. I don't need him to text me today. He's probably busy." She'll brush it off casually, but the next day, when her phone lights up and it's not you, something stirs. It's not heartbreak yet. It's curiosity. Why hasn't he reached out by day 3? It turns into doubt. Did I do something wrong? Did he lose interest? And by the end of the week, even the most confident woman begins to feel the absence in a way she cannot ignore. Here's what most men fail to realize: women are highly tuned to changes in emotional patterns. They notice shifts you don't even think twice about: the tone in your voice, the length of your replies, the timing of your messages, and when all of that disappears, it's like pulling the chair out from under someone who thought it would always be there. She might not fall immediately, but she feels the imbalance. Now, why does this shock hit so hard? Because silence interrupts her sense of control. For many women, attraction isn't just about romance, it's about certainty. If she knows you'll text, she feels secure in her position in your life. She knows she can reach for you, and you'll respond. That certainty gives her comfort, but it also gives her power. When you stop contacting her, you take that certainty away. Suddenly, she no longer knows if she still holds influence over you. That absence doesn't just create silence, it creates a void. And the female mind hates a void. It rushes to fill it with questions, doubts, and imagined scenarios. Is he busy? Is he mad at me? Or has he already moved on? This is where the shock of silence becomes more than just emotional. It becomes psychological warfare. You're no longer chasing. You're no longer predictable. And in that unpredictability, her mind cannot rest. Some men make the mistake of thinking silence equals weakness. They think if they don't explain themselves, if they don't chase after her, she'll assume they don't care. But the opposite is true. Silence is strength. Silence forces her to confront her own feelings, her own ego, and her own dependence on your attention. Let's put it in perspective. Imagine a woman who gets compliments every day on social media. She barely notices them anymore because they're predictable, but the moment the comments stop, she suddenly realizes the silence feels heavier than the words ever did. It's not that the compliments were special, it's that she came to expect them, and when they disappear, she feels the loss. That's exactly how your silence works. It makes her feel something she didn't expect, the sting of absence, and ironically, the more she took you for granted before, the more powerful the shock becomes when you finally step back. So what should you do with this knowledge? Simple, hold your frame. Don't rush back in just because she acts indifferent. Don't break the silence because you fear losing her. Understand that the very first reaction shock is proof that she noticed, proof that your presence mattered, and proof that your absence is now shaping her emotions in ways words never could. The shock of silence is the beginning of the shift. It's the first crack in her certainty, and once that crack forms, everything else, curiosity, doubt, desire flows through. Remember this when you stop contacting her. She notices, always. Maybe not in the way you expect. Maybe not on the surface. But deep down, the silence echoes louder than anything you could ever say. If the first effect of your silence is shock, the second is far more dangerous: uncertainty. And in the psychology of attraction, uncertainty is like fire. It consumes her thoughts, fuels her emotions, and keeps you at the center of her mind even when you're not around. Here's the truth. Women hate unanswered questions. When something doesn't make sense, their emotions don't settle, they escalate. That's why silence is so powerful. It doesn't give her closure. It doesn't give her clarity. Instead, it leaves her to fill the gaps with her own imagination. And trust me, her imagination doesn't sit still. It runs wild. At first, she might ask herself simple questions. Is he busy? Did something happen at work? But as hours turn into days, her thoughts spiral deeper. Did I say something wrong? Did he lose interest? Or worse, is he seeing someone else? That uncertainty is not neutral. It's emotional fuel. It makes her pick up her phone and scroll through your old messages. It makes her replay the last time she saw you, analyzing every word, every look, every silence, trying to decode what she missed. Suddenly, moments she brushed off before feel loaded with meaning. Every detail becomes evidence in a case she's desperate to solve. And this is where the paradox begins. Even negative emotions, frustration, doubt, anger still tie her to you. She may complain to her friends, "I don't know what's going on with him." She may act cold when you finally cross paths, but underneath it all, her attention is still locked onto you. Your silence has forced her to invest mental energy in you. And the more energy she invests, the stronger the connection becomes. Why does uncertainty hit so hard? Because women are used to being in control of the narrative. When you were always available, texting first, checking in, showing consistent attention, she felt secure. She knew her place in your life. That certainty gave her comfort, but it also gave her power. When you stop contacting her, you rip that comfort away. You remind her that attraction isn't guaranteed, that your attention is not infinite, and deep down, that makes her feel something most women rarely admit: risk. Think about it. People only value what they could lose. Certainty breeds comfort, but comfort breeds complacency. Uncertainty, on the other hand, breeds curiosity, and curiosity breeds desire. She may not confess it, but your silence has turned her into an emotional detective, and every unanswered question pulls her deeper into your orbit. Now, let's be clear, this doesn't mean she'll come running back immediately. In fact, she may try to mask her uncertainty by acting distant or pretending she doesn't care. But remember, behavior can be deceptive. Energy cannot. If she's replaying your absence in her mind, if she's constantly scanning for signs of you, if she's secretly hoping you'll break the silence, then uncertainty has already done its job. The mistake most men make here is breaking too soon. They sense her pulling away, and instead of holding steady, they rush back in with reassurance. "Hey, I just wanted to check on you. Is everything okay?" They think clarity will save the attraction. But what it really does is kill the curiosity. Once she knows you're still there, her imagination stops. The fire burns out. Uncertainty works because it keeps her guessing. And as long as she's guessing, she's invested. Here's a simple analogy. Imagine a television show that reveals every twist in the first 5 minutes. Boring, right? But if the story builds mystery, leaves unanswered questions, and keeps you wondering what happens next, you can't look away. That's what your silence does. It turns you from predictable background noise into the mystery she can't solve. And the irony, the less she knows about where she stands with you, the more she thinks about you. That's the paradox of attraction. So, what do you do when uncertainty starts to take over her mind? Nothing. You don't chase. You don't explain. You don't break the silence just to ease her fears. you stay grounded in your own mission, your own growth, your own life. Because the more you resist the urge to reassure, the more she invests in trying to figure you out. And that investment, her mental energy, her emotional attention, is what reignites the pull toward you. Remember, this certainty makes her comfortable. Uncertainty makes her curious. And curiosity, not comfort, is what keeps attraction alive. Words can be powerful. They can charm. They can wound. They can persuade. But when it comes to attraction, nothing cuts deeper than silence. Here's why words give closure. Even if you tell her something she doesn't want to hear, "I'm not interested," "I need space," or "this isn't working," she has clarity. She can argue with it, rationalize it, deny it, or move on from it. Words give her something to work with. Silence, on the other hand, gives her nothing. And nothing is far harder to deal with than something, because in the absence of explanation, her mind creates its own, and those explanations almost always sting more than the truth would. When you stop contacting a woman, she doesn't get to hear, "I'm busy," or "I'll talk to you later." Instead, she sits in the void of unanswered questions. Why hasn't he called? Did I push him away? Is there someone else? Or does he just not care anymore? That silence forces her to wrestle with her own insecurities. It shines a spotlight on her doubts, and because the female mind is wired to overanalyze emotional situations, she fills the empty space with scenarios that are often worse than reality. This is what makes silence sting. It's not what you did. It's what she thinks you did. And here's the twist. Silence doesn't just sting her emotions. It bruises her ego. Most women are used to being noticed, validated, or pursued. Attention is the currency they expect, whether from you or from men in general. When you break that expectation by withholding your attention, you're not just cute, you're different. You're disrupting the pattern she thought she could always rely on. That disruption sends a sharp signal you are not under her control. And that realization is uncomfortable, because the truth is, most men fold. Most men chase when ignored. Most men over-explain, over-text, overcompensate. But when you don't, when you meet her silence with silence, it flips the power dynamic in an instant. Let's look at it from another angle. When you argue with her, she knows she has influence over you. She can push your buttons, draw words out of you, make you emotional. That makes her feel powerful. But when you remain silent, she loses that power. She can't provoke you. She can't predict you. She can't control the frame. That's why silence feels heavier than words. Think of it like standing in front of a locked door. If someone yells at you from the other side, at least you know they're there. But if there's only silence, you start wondering what's really happening inside. The unknown becomes scarier than the known. And in relationships, the unknown is far more magnetic than constant reassurance. Now, some men misunderstand this and weaponize silence in a manipulative way. That's not what we're talking about here. This isn't about punishing her or playing childish games. It's about mastering yourself, your emotions, your reactions, your availability. It's about creating space that forces her to feel the absence of what she once took for granted, And here's where the sting becomes transformative. Silence makes her reflective. Without your words filling the space, she starts replaying her own. She revisits the last things she said to you. She re-examines her tone, her attitude, her behavior, and in that reflection, she begins to question whether she was too cold, too distant, too dismissive. Your silence holds up a mirror, and what she sees in that mirror can be uncomfortable, even painful. But it's that discomfort that reawakens her attraction, because now, instead of you chasing her to fix things, she's chasing herself. She's chasing answers, chasing clarity, chasing the sense of control your silence has stripped away. The most important thing to understand here is this: silence is not emptiness. It's presence in disguise. The less you say, the louder your absence becomes. The fewer texts you send, the more she notices the lack. Every time she picks up her phone and sees no message from you, that absence echoes in her mind. And over time, the echo grows louder than any words you could have spoken. This is why silence is the ultimate strength move. It doesn't just protect your dignity, it elevates it. It doesn't just sting her ego, it forces her respect. And it doesn't just distance you, it creates the very tension that keeps attraction alive. So, when you stop contacting her, don't underestimate the sting of your silence. It's not weakness. It's not passivity. It's power. Power rooted in restraint. Power rooted in self-control. And power that will always speak louder than the neediness of words. If silence stings her emotions, being ignored bruises her ego, and for many women, that bruise cuts even deeper than heartbreak. Here's the raw truth: women are used to attention. They get it from social media likes, from casual compliments, from men glancing at them in public, and of course, from you when you were always reaching out. Attention is not just a bonus for most women, it's a baseline. It reassures them that they're desirable, admired, and in control. So, when you stop contacting her, you don't just remove a man from her daily life, you remove a source of validation she thought was guaranteed. That's when the ego shock hits. At first, she might play it cool. She'll tell herself, "I don't care. He's probably just busy. He'll text eventually." But as the hours turn into days, that story begins to crack. She starts checking her phone more often. She replays the last interactions between you, looking for clues. She may even post something subtle or not so subtle on social media just to see if you react. Every one of those actions comes from the same place: a bruised ego. Because when a woman who is used to attention suddenly feels ignored, she feels something she doesn't experience, often irrelevance. And irrelevance is a wound most women cannot tolerate for long. Think about it. Most men, when ignored, assume the worst. She doesn't like me. I should move on. But most women, when ignored, assume something very different. Why doesn't he like me? What's wrong with him? Or worse, what's wrong with me? That self-questioning is powerful. It forces her to confront the possibility that she's not as in control as she thought. And the more she asks those questions, the more invested she becomes in finding answers. In other words, your silence makes her work harder for your attention, than she ever did when you were giving it freely. Now, let's talk about why this ego shock is so effective. Attraction thrives on imbalance. When she believes she has your full attention, she relaxes, maybe even takes you for granted. But when you pull back, when you break that pattern, the scales flip. Suddenly, she's the one wondering, doubting, overthinking. You've disrupted the story where she was always the prize and reminded her, without saying a word, that you are a prize too. This is where many men fail. The moment they sense her ego bruised, they rush back in to soothe it. They respond to her social media bait. They double text when she doesn't reply. They give back the attention she was craving, thinking it will earn them points. But all it really does is erase the very tension that was rebuilding attraction in the first place. Here's the truth. Ignoring her isn't about cruelty. It's about discipline. It's about refusing to reward disrespect, manipulation, or indifference with more of your energy. When you hold your silence, you're not just punishing her, you're protecting yourself. You're showing her and reminding yourself that your value isn't defined by how much attention you pour into someone else. And ironically, that's what makes her start chasing again. Because women don't respect men they can control. They respect men who don't collapse under pressure. They respect men who don't hand over their validation on a silver platter. And when you show her that you're willing to withhold your attention until it's earned, you shift the dynamic permanently. Imagine her scrolling through her phone late at night. Every other man in her messages is predictable, quick replies, compliments, constant effort. But your name, silent, unmoved, absent. That absence becomes magnetic, because deep down, she knows attention is easy to get from weak men, but indifference from a strong man, that's rare. And rarity is irresistible. So here's the takeaway: when you stop contacting her, you don't just disappear, you create an ego shock. You force her to confront her own value, her own insecurity, and her own dependence on your attention. And that shock, as uncomfortable as it feels for her, is exactly what re-sparks the chase. Remember this: the man who can ignore a woman without bitterness, without drama, without explanation, is the man she cannot forget. Not because you played games, but because you showed her something she rarely sees: self-respect. Attraction feels good when it's safe, predictable, and constantly fed. That's why so many men smother women with attention. They think the more they give, the more secure she'll feel, and the stronger her attraction will grow. But here's the paradox: safety kills passion, predictability kills curiosity, and constant validation kills desire. When you stop contacting her, something shifts inside her psychology. Attraction no longer feels like a comfortable gift she can accept whenever she pleases. It starts to feel like a risk. Why? Because now she realizes she doesn't have total control over you. When you were always available, she knew exactly where she stood. She could message you whenever she wanted and get an instant reply. She could withdraw attention and know you'd chase. She could test you, pull back, or act cold, because deep down, she knew you'd never walk away. That predictability made her feel safe, but safe in a way that killed tension. because what's guaranteed rarely feels valuable. But when you go silent, you flip the script. Suddenly, attraction carries weight. Suddenly, choosing you means she could lose something if she doesn't show up, if she doesn't invest, if she doesn't respect the connection. You might not be there when she turns back around. And that possibility, that risk, is what reignites the fire. Think about it this way. Humans don't value what they can't lose. A paycheck feels normal until the job is threatened. Health feels invisible until sickness strikes. Love feels certain until absence reminds us how fragile it really is. The same principle applies here. When you stop contacting her, you remind her that your presence isn't free, endless, or inconditionnel. You remind her that if she wants you in her life, she has to risk her pride, her ego, and her comfort to keep you there. Now, this doesn't mean she'll immediately admit her feelings. Often, the opposite happens. She resists. She acts colder. She tells herself not to chase, but beneath that resistance is fear. The fear that she may have pushed too far, that you may have slipped away, that her attraction has put her at risk of losing you. This internal tug-of-war is what makes silence so powerful. On one side, her pride tells her to wait, to stay in control, to let you make the first move. On the other side, her heart tells her to reach out, to bridge the gap, to risk vulnerability, to keep you. And as long as you stay grounded, the scale tips, her pride weakens, her heart grows louder, and eventually, she acts. That's when you see the texts, the social media posts, the accidental calls. That's when she begins to invest again, not because you begged, but because your absence made her realize the cost of losing you. Here's the key lesson. Attraction without risk is weak. When she feels certain she has you, she relaxes into indifference. But when she feels she could lose you, attraction transforms from a casual feeling into a force she can't ignore. This is why silence is not about punishment, it's about value. It forces her to weigh what she really wants. It makes her ask herself, am I willing to risk losing him by doing nothing? And more often than not, that question pushes her to act in your favor. Now, here's where men often ruin it. They mistake